live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Smokin Nicole.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. I'm still fighting this cough.
Coughing already.
First of all, before I even do the intro.
Vegas.
Vegas. Everyone knows half the trade show brought COVID home. And
Yep.
Nicole had it really bad last week.
Yep.
I was pretty mild, but then as Nicole was getting over it and I thought that was it for me, like now I just have this cough that has just been a nightmare. And I didn't even make it into my intro, and here it is. It's horrible. It's horrible. But welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com. And for the first time, I am joined by my beautiful wife, Smokin Nicole, on the Smokin Tabacco Show. She did miss the show last week because, as I just said, she was...
I was pretty sick.
Yeah, she couldn't get out of bed, so it was pretty bad. I've since made 3 show appearances. Those are actually the only 3 times I've actually smoked a cigar since the trade show. Because of Spare Notes, it was a long show Saturday, and I almost didn't make it into. We were going towards the 3-hour mark, and I had to text Coop and be like, "I'm holding this cough back right now, so I'm done." And I had to end the show because I was holding it back, and as soon as I was done, I just let it ride for like 20 minutes. I was just like, "Oh my god." And it's been getting worse ever since, but I have to do this, so I'm here. Just doing the best I can. But we're not alone. We are joined by our friend Sebastian from Cavalier. We haven't had you on the show before. This is your first time, so welcome to the show officially, Sebastian.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And I'm happy to join you in the COVID club.
COVID Club. If you haven't heard of Cavalier, they are the ones with the cigars with the gold diamond on the wrapper of the cigar. We have one right here. You've probably seen that. Stay Gold, Smoke Gold.
Yep.
Although, Sebastian, the cigar we're smoking tonight doesn't have gold on it. We're smoking the new Inner Circle. I actually got these from you at the trade show, and I knew you were coming on, so we saved them for tonight. So this is going to be our first time smoking the cigar. We're going to smoke it with Sebastian as we, get into this and talk, a little bit about, the brand and whatnot. And then we'll talk a little bit more about this cigar. But so that's what we're smoking. Sebastian, what are you smoking tonight?
I actually wanted to smoke the Inner Circle too, but couldn't find in which part of my bags it was in. So I ended up picking Prospector, actually.
Oh, nice.
Which is, it's a one-size thing. Was announced last year at the trade show. But thanks to the beautiful general world situation, it took a long time for us to get it to the market. So it's as recently available on the market.
Nice. It's exciting to see you guys continue to grow. You guys have been around for a couple of years now. And last year we saw you at the show. I ran into you at the show. We didn't get to film at the show this year. I wanted to, but unfortunately Nicole had already started to get sick, so we weren't able to record there. But I did come by. I talked to Sebastian, and there will be the coverage of the booth and all that later on the website as soon as I get caught up. I'm a little bit behind on getting our trade show coverage out because we've been so sick, so just bear with us. But I'll get that out. I have photos and information, and we'll talk more about that even around the show tonight, so a little bit of an early unveil there. But Sebastian, tell me a little bit about the brand before we get into the cigars themselves. You guys are a smaller boutique brand. Maybe not everyone's heard of the brand, so just let everyone know, a little history on it. Where you guys from? Where you based out? Where your cigars made? Just kind of the general rundown.
Yeah, so very quickly, I started Cavalier about 7 years ago now, back originally in Switzerland. So I started in Europe. I was born and raised in Switzerland, so it only made sense, obviously, for me to start back there. Right now, we have the company in Switzerland that takes care of international markets, which represents slightly over 30 countries. And then we have the U.S. company based out of Dallas, where I'm right now, which I've been living in Dallas now for 3.5-ish years. I'm a little lost with that COVID thing. It kind of, like everybody, I think it kind of cut time in a weird way. So somewhere around 3.5 years, which the U.S. side, U.S. company, what we run from here is obviously only for taking care of the U.S. market. And then we had our cigars produced by a member of the Placencia family and partially by Nestor too, for about 5-ish years. And about a year and a half ago, we opened our own factory. We currently employ 80 to 100 people down there full time.
Wow.
But so yeah, a little family is growing.
I didn't even realize you had your own factory already. I thought you were still having your cigars made elsewhere, but that's awesome. That's it's always good when you can open your own factory. You can have more control, over the stuff that you make. You don't have to rely on someone else or on their capacities and stuff like that. I've had
only problem is when you miscalculate like us, and we kind of got to the factory capacity in a year. So we were kind of trying to figure out how to get more space because we're stuck between other buildings and we don't have any expansion space left. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's interesting because it provides other challenges, to put it that way. But it's definitely, I think for a younger company like us, it really shows we wanted to, share our commitment with the industry and with what we do. And obviously with the growth, it made only sense because you get to a point where it gets very difficult to be regular enough with receiving productions and stuff like this when it's not your own operations. So yeah, but it's been interesting. It's been interesting, and
it's been a learning curve, to say the least, which is good. It never hurts to learn. You'll let things you'll use down the road. No, it's really awesome. So one of the first things I wanted to bring up with you, one of the signature staples on your cigars is that gold flake on the wrapper of the cigar. Now, if you've smoked the Cavalier cigars before, if you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, as I said, we just showed you. If I remember correctly, you had told me when we first met, it is an edible. It's an actual gold. It's an edible grade gold that you guys put on the wrapper. What was the inspiration behind that? Or what came about to let's put gold on the wrapper?
So it's 24 karat edible. Same thing you'll find on some pastries and stuff like this. We actually source it from Europe. It's a little bit of a funky process, but interesting. It's we started when I first started the company. It was going well, but the problematic that you find is for a younger company at the time, especially when you just start, how do you make your place? How do you make yourself visible in a humidor? How do you make it something that people will remember and be able to ask for and all those kind of things? And at the time when we were doing a slight refresh, we only had the whites. That was very early on, the white boxes, white series. When we got to that rebrand at the time, which Aileen was doing, all the boxes had actually a certain gold pattern, if you want, all over it. And she was cleaning that up, making it something much more modern, if you want, and easier to read. And we were trying to figure out what we could do to enhance what the brand is and also make it more easy to talk about, recognize, remember. And I said we have a little bit of a problem because, we're a younger company, but we're present in over, 30 countries, including several countries in Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, Central America, and Caribbean. So it means a lot of different languages. So how the hell do you do when, someone has to pronounce Cavalier in French and German and Chinese and whatever else languages, Korean, Japanese, et cetera, et cetera. English and French, luckily, is pretty simple. Cavalier. But then when you get to those other languages, it starts being a little funky. So,
Oh yeah.
The whole concept, actually, my wife came back to me and said, "Look, I think I have an idea. We should put gold on the cigars." And I first reacted fairly negatively to it. Not that I have any, nothing against people that wrap their cigars in gold, but I really figured, I was like, that's not something I'm willing to do. It's not something that is representative of who we are, what we do, and everything. He said, no, you don't understand. Why don't we make it a sample? The gold, the diamond. I'm cleaning the boxes off, and there is no more diamond. There is one last little reminder of the gold diamond on the lids of the white series, actually, but the whole box was like this, and we figured it was already part of the image of what we had started at the time, and so it only made sense to use it as a symbol that could be spoken about in any language without any specific barriers. And yeah, that's where it started.
It's pretty interesting and pretty cool, actually. And
it worked.
And it worked. I mean, you go into it. I want the one with the gold on it. Now,
I mean,
there's really only I could be wrong, but I think there's only one other cigar that actually uses gold, but it's fully covered, and those are the Daniel Marshall cigars. But those are also much far and fewer between. So when you go into a humidor and you're asking for that gold diamond cigar, I mean, oh yeah, exactly. I know what you're talking about.
Through the years, there's been some companies that have put gold on their cigars. Some local European brands. Some brands that tried to figure out a space in the market and disappeared, and different things like this. So there's been a couple of intents, but all those were all completely gold covered, and yeah, that was very different from the approach that we had. It's not at all the same thought process. I think we don't do it as a novelty or something like this. We really simply use it as a symbol. So I think it's a very different thought process.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's well, I'm trying to find there was a word that I had and I lost it. It's I hate when that happens too. Like I think of like the right adjective and then I lose it. But it's ingenious, I guess, is another word you could use. I don't know how that works, but that's definitely another one. So was the White Series the first? Was that the first cigar that you started with Cavalier? Was the White Series?
Yeah, it was the first cigar I ever blended, and it's the first cigar I ever brought to the market. Originally, I said launched it in Switzerland and then expanded from there. And yeah, it was interesting because everything you'll find in the portfolio that we have fits a different stage in our history with cigars, in our life with cigars, and it also really fits and fills in a gap that we had to fill. Meaning you really don't find two cigars that are so similar or anything like this, because all of them is more of a personal process through tobacco.
Yeah, I've had the White. So the White Series was the first cigar that I had. I had heard about the brand. I'd seen it before on social media, and the first time I had it was actually May of 21. I was at Smokin, and I was actually with Abe in his office, and I said, I'm gonna grab a cigar, and I grabbed the White Series, and I said, I'm gonna smoke this because I've been wanting to smoke this, and I haven't seen it anywhere, and I grabbed it, and I lit that, and I was like, wow, and I was really impressed. I really enjoyed that cigar. It's fantastic, a lot of flavor, but not too overpowering. Real smooth, great quality construction. It's a really nice premium cigar. Remind me on the price point of the White Series.
It's roughly before, depending, it varies with taxes depending on the states and everything, but it's roughly in that $9 to $10-$50 range.
Yeah, so I mean, I knew it wasn't too high, but so for like $9-10, right? So for $9-10, that's a pretty good price for a really high quality cigar. If you haven't had it, I highly recommend it. For the price point, it's great. You get a lot of bang for that $9-10. And especially the quality. Yeah, the quality is amazing.
It's been interesting. All the portfolio basically ranges in that 8-ish to that $14.50 range. But yeah, the white was pretty interesting because we launched it. We had never done anything in the industry, and I think about 2 years in, a year and a half, 2 years in, we actually were in the top 5 Cigar Journal awards for the cigars in Honduras. That out of nowhere. So we've been very lucky with that cigar, and we've been very happy with that blend ever since. It's been an interesting journey, and and I think a fairly unique cigar in itself.
And then from the white series, you went to this, which is the Viso Jalapa.
So from the white, I first went at the time to the USA exclusive. We had opened the US with a third-party distributor, which, we thought we were going to work with the US the same way we work with any other countries. It was part of the learning curve. We discovered that doesn't really work that way, but we did about 1.5 years, 2 years with these people which were great people. They just stopped distributing any kind of cigars after that time in the US. So we made a cigar for them. They asked for something because they wanted something a little bolder. And so we created that USA exclusive. And then about a year after, the Black 2. And then about a year ago, the Viso Jalapa.
Okay. I don't think I've had the other two, but I've had the white series and I've had the Viso Jalapa, which are both very good. So the Inner Circle,
Thank you.
if I remember, so the Inner Circle is going to be my third cigar, which is what we're smoking tonight. This was something that you guys were showcasing at the trade show this year, and so this is a newer release, and this is going to be coming out when?
So it's actually starting to ship before the end of the month.
Okay.
I don't have an exact date just because obviously the warehouse has a lot of work to do right now after the trade show.
Yeah.
But it's already, and so yeah, it's going to start hitting shelves in the US in the next, depending on where the shops are, a range of 2 weeks and maybe 4 weeks depending.
I had a question for you. So I'm about, let's say like a half an inch into this cigar, and it is good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there Honduran tobacco in this cigar?
There is.
I was going to say I can taste it, and it's good.
So the blend on it actually is pretty unique for us. The wrapper and the binder are pretty classic tobaccos that we use on a fairly regular basis. The wrapper is Habano from Jalapa. The binder is from Jamastran, so from Honduras. And then the fillers where it gets a little funky. There is, again, Jalapa, which, again, pretty classic for us. But then there is broadleaf grown in Jamastran, which is Honduras again, which that broadleaf is not something that is very common yet grown there. There is Pennsylvania from the U.S., and there is Piloto grown in the Dominican Republic.
I was going to say, one of the first things I picked up on this cigar right away was I could taste that Honduran tobacco. And it's a unique flavor, as most tobaccos are, but some a little bit more than others. I picked up on that right away, and it's a lot of flavor in it, and it's a good flavor, and I haven't been smoking a lot of anything with Honduran in it lately, so I think it's standing out to me a lot right now because it's so different from my palate. Because I've been smoking a lot of, to be honest with you, lately I've been smoking a lot of straight Dominican, and a little bit of like some Nicaraguan Maduros, but a lot of straight, like more mild medium Dominican stuff lately. So I picked that up on my palate right away, and it's a great flavor tone that I'm pulling off right away in the cigar, and it's really delicious. Now on this cigar, how many sizes are going to be available?
So for now we have 4 sizes there, which so there is a Petit Robusto, which is the first one. 4.5 by 50. Then we have a Robusto Grande, which is a 5 by 54. Toro, 6 by 52. And then Tiburado, Trofeo, which is a 6 by 52. So 4 sizes, kept it pretty simple, and kept it in the spectrum of what people tend to gravitate towards. We might add some more funky sizes a little bit after. But I think the key was to cover the essentials, and I think it worked pretty well in all those sizes. I'm actually very fond of the 4.5 by 50.
Yeah, I believe that's the size that we have here.
Yeah, it might well be.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, 5 by 54.
No, these are the 5 by 54. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really like this size. This is a really nice size. The draw is excellent too. It has a nice draw to it, nice and smooth. The burn line has been very, very. I'll get a little closer. It's very consistent, very even. So it's burning well. It's drawing well. The flavor's good. Nice complexity. Not too hot. It's very muggy here where we are right now.
It feels like 97.
It's just dripping in the air. But the cigar is still performing very well. So, again, another, so far, I mean, we just started, but again, this is just another example of just another quality cigar that you guys have done, and I think that speaks volumes because I was online last night and I was on another manufacturer's Instagram, and there was a lot of people on there asking about well, why are you coming out with another cigar when you guys haven't been able to keep up with the strong demand with some of the other lines, and they responded directly and they were like, well, you know what, we only make so many cigars per year, but what matters to us is the quality, not the quantity. We'd rather make a smaller amount and have them be good quality than just pump a lot of cigars out just to fill all the shelves, and then they kind of suck, and then no one wants to buy them, and that's true. Nobody wants to just put product out just to put it out, and then it doesn't perform, and then no one buys it again. So you guys have done a really good job, even as a small company, of staying very consistent with your quality over the last couple of years. I've been smoking it for the last almost 2 years now, and every single one's always been on point. So I always bring that up, and it's not just to kiss ass or whatever. It needs to be said because the manufacturers who get that right, it needs to be mentioned, because there's manufacturers that don't. There's manufacturers that they don't get that right. They just get it out because people want it. But the people who can still keep up with their supply and their quality is good, it's a huge deal. It really is, because that's when the reputation starts to drop off, when you lose your quality.
Yeah, and it's always interesting because we've been very lucky since very early on to fall in right hands to get the right tobaccos. But much more interesting now, after a year and a half at the factory, is that we don't only roll our own cigars, but we process a good chunk of the tobaccos that we use. So we do our own fermentation. There's a lot of processes that we control ourselves, which allows us also to experiment, to play, and to get to use the tobaccos when we're happy with where they're at. Right, we're not as dependent anymore on using the tobacco the way it is, even though again, the sources we had before were, it's hard to get better sources than that. But it still adds, I think, to what we do and how we do it, to be able to, on our side, ourselves, work our tobaccos the way we want, at least a good chunk of them, because I think it adds personality, and it adds, again, it's back to that commitment to the industry,
Absolutely. I am going to take a pause right here really quick, because we have two things we got to do. First, we got to hit our news, and the second thing is we have a giveaway that we need to announce, and I want to do that before I forget about that. First, we'll do the news. We'll start off with our news segment. Our news is, again, brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. If you head over to McAuliffe Cigars today, McAuliffeCigars.com rather, you can sign up to become official McAuliffe ambassador, where you'll get your official ambassador number, ambassador coin, and while you're at it, head over to the Facebook McAuliffe Ambassadors group, where you can join in and socialize, hang out, smoke with all of your fellow McAuliffe ambassadors. It's a great time. It's a great group. There's some of them in the chat here tonight. I see Orlando Perez is here. There's a few others. They'll tell you all about it. It's a great time. It's a great group. So in an effort to try to stay away from the PCA talk, because I know it's been all over the internet, I have something PCA, but it has nothing to do with the trade show. Earlier this week, actually yesterday, the Premium Cigar Association and the Boutique Cigar Association announced a new collaboration. the PCA and the BCAA announced that a new collaborative relationship to highlight the boutique cigar industry within the world of premium cigars and to affect solidarity within the cigar industry. This is interesting. You know, the Boutique Cigar Association is a group it's been a small group. It's been, you know, in my opinion, we've talked about this on the Spare Notes show a little bit. I think that one of these shows we're going to get into that a little bit more. But they've been a group that, and Coop's kind of spoken a little bit more critically on them than I have, but they've been a little quiet. They have a festival or something like that every year that they do with a bunch of the smaller brands.
Second annual.
Yeah, I think this is their second annual. But it's interesting to see them kind of pair up with PCA. I think that's probably a good thing for them. You know, PCA is obviously a bigger organization that I think it's good for them to also, you know, be looking at some of these other groups like the the Boutique Cigar Association. It'll help them get more exposure, help them grow. I think they're also going to be. I think they'll have a booth at the trade show next year. I think they're going to be doing something at the trade show next year.
Well, they didn't announce formally what they were doing, I believe, in terms of how they were going to be there. But I'd be curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be cool is if they bought a giant booth space and then sort of siphoned and had mini booths for some of the, manufacturers in the Boutique Cigar Association that may not have been able to afford a booth on their own, so that they're still able to go to the show. I think that makes the most sense. But
it's a good way to get some of those smaller brands into the big show to help them get their exposure, help them to grow, which is great. We always want people in the industry to grow and get bigger. So, I believe Nova is in the Boutique Cigar Association. I want to say Hiram Solomon is part of the Boutique Cigar Association.
They are, yep.
So there's a couple brands that we're very familiar with that are part of that organization. It's nice to see that relationship happening, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So for more information on that, you can head over to smokintabacco.com in our cigar industry news section, and you can read more about that press release that came out from the two organizations yesterday. We also have a giveaway. And that giveaway is a Drew Estates swag pack.
I'm going to throw the picture up, too.
There's two winners that are going to be picked. Actually, it's right over there. I don't know if we want to grab it, but we have two winners that we picked who participated in the giveaway that we hosted online. And our first winner... Oh, there it is. Perfect. That's awesome.
Boom.
So there's a backpack. There's one of the spray can lighters that I know if you're a Drew Estate follower or fan, whatever, you've probably seen these in different designs. So there was a Great Smoke one. There was a DE25 one. There was another one, too. I don't remember what it was. There's this one. This set is the Goodwill Axe set that Drew Estate sent out in lieu of the barn smokers that were canceled last year because of the pandemic again. So it comes with the backpack, the spray can lighter, the hat, the Sticks and Sips book, which is awesome. There's some awesome cocktail recipes in that book, so definitely check that out. The first winner of that set is our good friend Gracie Rodriguez was actually picked on that one. She is a winner of that set.
It's winner number one.
That's winner number one. And the other winner is Brian Cadena, also known as Bingo, for those who know him as Brian Bingo on social media. He is the other winner. So
congratulations.
Congratulations. Those are our two winners for the Drew Estate giveaway. There's 2 packs. We'll get them out to you guys. They're right over there. We'll box them up. We'll have them sent out hopefully by this weekend. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is we have another giveaway.
Yes.
We have another giveaway. And we waited till this one was over. So that was our Drew Estate giveaway that we did as part of our celebration for the trade show that was brought to you by Drew Estate. All of our coverage was brought to you by Drew Estate. The giveaway brought to you by Drew Estate. But we have another one. This time this giveaway comes to us by virtue of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. We have a Steve Saka giveaway from Steve himself, personally. For most of you, obviously, weren't at the trade show. But for those of us who were, when you went to the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust booth, there were bags of, you probably saw this, but there were bags of Sasquatch poo that he was giving away at the booth. And he ordered about 1,000 of these bags. He told the whole story in our interview at the trade show, which you can see all on our YouTube channel and everywhere else. He talks about this whole thing. He called this company up and asked for 1,000 bags of them, and I think they thought it was a joke. But there they were at the booth.
He thinks they were their biggest order.
Yeah, he
Like
he
ever.
thinks that they were the biggest order of that company's ever done. So I don't know about that, but so we had some of those we wanted to give away, and then Steve had the bright idea like, hey, if we're gonna do a giveaway, I don't want them to just get a bag of cotton candy, which is what it is. It's a black cherry flavored cotton candy, but he said I want to throw something else in, so he voluntarily added in one Muestra de Saca unicorn, which normally retails for $100, courtesy of Steve himself, that will be given away with 2 bags of the Sasquatch Poo Cotton Candy from the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust booth. So if you weren't at PCA and you're like, oh my God, I'm a Saka person, I got to have like that flare collectible, whatever, because that's your chance. You can get 2 bags, and you can get a really cool Dunbarton cigar too.
And we're dubbing it the unicorn poop giveaway.
The unicorn poop giveaway, yeah.
It's a unicorn and some bags of poop. So we will be posting that after the show tonight. So stay tuned. Similar to the Drew Estate one, you'll have to follow us and tag as always. But that will go live tonight. So keep an eye out for that after the show.
Absolutely, it's going up tonight.
Yep.
And when does that one run? Is that one just a week?
Yeah, just a week.
I think that one's just going to be a week. So we'll run that, and we'll pick the winners on next week's show on Thursday night. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, we'll have that up right after the show. On social media, I'll have it on the website everywhere, so you guys can find it. But that is our giveaway for this week. Those are the winners. Congratulations to Gracie and Brian again. And stay tuned for the Unicorn Poo giveaway, courtesy of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Sebastian, back to Cavalier. So
I was just laughing interiorly, trying to not make noise. I was funny.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Funny.
It is fun. We try to have some fun here on the show. Try to make it light, try to make it enjoyable, not to make it too dry. So anytime we can have a little bit of fun, we try to partake in that. But no, so Cavalier, like I said, so was this your second year at the trade show or your third?
Oh no, it's like 5th or something.
Fifth,
like
really?
this.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
nice. Nice.
It's been, I think, 5th-ish, 4th or 5th. I don't remember again. PCA thing, COVID thing kind of blurs everything. But I think 4th or 5th, and TP was only 2nd, and then Dortmund and all that. Yeah, it's all a big thing. It's starting to all blur together.
It's true. Especially like the busier you get, the more you're doing. The more time that goes by, it all does turn into a blur after a while. It's just kind of like, I can't even remember like all the things we've done at this point.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's normal. I think it's just how things are. You just get, the only important thing is not to get into the routine, right? If not, you start losing that interest in that spark, and that's what you need to avoid, I guess.
Now, so let me ask you this question. So obviously the trade show itself has been, a topic, just because it just happened. But also, there's people who have been in praise of PCA. There's been people who have, criticized PCA. I was on a panel on Monday night with How About That Cigar. We talked a little bit about this. As an exhibitor and a manufacturer who, has partaken in the show for a few years, and, I know you've said you've been at TPE, you've been at the Dortmund show. How would you say this show, compared to the last 4 that you did PCA-wise, the 2022 show we were just at, how does that one compare to the previous 4 that you participated in?
I think there are different factors on a company that is our age. The first factor is that obviously the first years, especially when we just had started, are difficult to compare to now, right? Because there's been a lot of difference in acceptation of what we do and who we are and everything, which when it's your first or second show, nobody gives a shit, let's be honest, right? So, I mean, it's, it is what it is. So it's hard to compare. I really think it's hard to compare. Another factor is, a little, what was it, 2-3 years before COVID, there was a real big, like, cold wind blowing over the industry. And I mean, we can't forget that the FDA was the biggest topic there, and then obviously retailers were pretty cold, and trade shows have been suffering across industries anyways, right? But I think that last year's easiest things I can compare is last year to this year at least. Um, Last year, I think people got all crazy because they could go out of home again. Right? I think people were excited to be out, and the it felt like more like people were. It was a really good show, but people were especially happy and more playful because it was that liberty again. I think this year the show was much more, you know, professionally orientated. People were there to do business, even though they were there to do business last year. I think this year people are back into a much more regular routine of work, and I think that changes how people behave on a personal level. But you know, you look at the numbers and everything. I've you know, like everybody in the industry, we follow that. Uh, it's relevant and irrelevant at the same time. The reality is, I think, are you sticking your head, you know, up above the crowd high enough so that people come and see you or not? So I think it's really it's a tough question. I think the show was good. People were there to do business. Yes, we all believe that it would be amazing to have, you know, bigger amounts of retailers again go in and maybe being more involved, but that's something that every industry has said show is suffering from and has been suffering from probably for the last decade. So it's something that is decreasing anyway. The question is to know if it's something that can be reversed really or not.
Did you find that? I mean, we've talked a little bit about, you know, in other discussions, you know, the traffic of the show in general, but in terms of, you know, your booth and with Cavalier, you know, did you find that there was still a lot of traffic, you know, just amongst your booth, you know, with a lot of people coming in and just a lot of business coming in and people being excited to buy and whatnot. Some, especially in the smaller ones, you know, that the smaller brands, some have said it was kind of slow. Everyone was at the bigger manufacturers, and then some of the small brands were like, we were slammed because we feel like there was more of an opportunity for us because some of the bigger brands were not at the show. And so that allowed some of these retailers to be like, well, let me look and see some of these other guys who are here that I don't know.
Well, I think the crowd that attends and has attended since last year is aware of this, and is also a crowd that is interested by not only the big four, but also any other family-owned business. What I can tell you is we consistently basically double our business every trade show, and this trade show was not an exception to that. We definitely were busy. Obviously, the last half day was slow because I think half the show was already sick and
oh yeah,
half already left. So
which is always the case.
Clear, but yeah, and you know the last half day just doesn't make a lot of sense. But at least it gives everybody a little bit of time to hang out. But the first days were very busy, and we've had a very good show, so I really can't complain.
Yeah. Do you think that the last half day should be eliminated and the show should just be a straight 3 days like TPE?
Well, we had that conversation with a couple of people during the last half day, actually. And, you know, eliminated, I don't know, but maybe it could be reversed where it could start with a half day. So maybe, or, you know, there is maybe an opportunity if you start with a half day to spend more time in that first half day, maybe with the press or something like this. Because at the end of the day, when it's the last half day, you've already seen the press, you've already seen the customers, people are leaving. So it just, you're there to hang out with, you know, a couple of friends in the industry and just see, you know, a couple of more people. But I really don't think that half last day is you know, efficient for at least most people, if not everybody. Mm-hmm. Yes, you do write some business. Yes, you still see some people. But honestly, if you delete that half day, you'd still see the same people and write the same amount of business, I think. I don't really know the value of that last day. But again, you know, we're not organizing it. We commit to the show the way it is, and that's what it is, right? We decide to commit to it, and that means that we stay until the end.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was Cavalier has done some collaborations with some other people too. You guys have done some other small projects. Do you have any projects that you're working on that we might see before the end of the year?
Yeah, we've mainly done how do you put that? We've done one or two things for friends since we opened the factory. We mainly did shop exclusives and stuff like this for anniversaries, shop anniversaries, stuff like that, which were interesting projects because it allows you to play around a little bit. We do have a very busy couple of years coming up, especially the next 12 months are unusually busy in terms of releases and stuff that we've been working on and, in the process of releasing or planning on releasing up to the next trade show. Yeah. There are several things. We got to that stage, as you said. The Inner Circle is the first cigar that you see from us that doesn't have the gold diamond. It is not just a one-time thing. We're actually expanding the portfolio. The difference is, so far, we always expanded the portfolio of lines under Cavalier the way people knew it, which is something that we are continuing to do. But we also figured that it was interesting and important for us to expand and be able to share another kind of message with the consumers and everybody that partners up with us. And also challenge ourselves a little bit differently in terms of bringing another expression of what cigars are for us, meaning adding brands in the portfolio instead of just adding lines under a brand, which is very interesting process. So yeah, we'll have releases coming out a little bit before the end of the year. We also have a complete rebrand and reblend of one of the lines, which is going to be very interesting. Something that was overdue, and very excited about what is happening with this one. We do have plans for TPE, which I can't give too much information yet about because it's a big step for us. It's really another interesting thing, a little bit like the Inner Circle that you're smoking right now in terms of thought process. And then later at PCA, we'll have an extension line under the Inner Circle brand.
So you'll be at TPE. You'll have something big that you're gonna unveil at TPE. You will be back for PCA next year. You'll have something else there. That sounds good. I mean,
Absolutely.
you got some irons in the fire, and then you mentioned a rebranding of one of your existing lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Complete rebranding, but not only rebranding, it's actually a complete reblend and completely rebrand. So it's the concept of the line is going to remain what it has been, and it will just be refreshed and put to the more if you want, put to the standards of what my thoughts on tobaccos are now compared to what they were when it originally launched, which was the second line. Yeah. Which is there is a news that we've not announced yet, but because it's early, but it's basically work on the USA exclusive. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's not just a one project. It's part of several regional exclusive releases for several countries, and we decided to put everything under one umbrella and try to have everything make sense visually, but also it was a good opportunity to rework a little bit on the product itself, and actually rework quite a bit on it, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I think it's going to be something very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where you guys go. Like I said, everything you have done so far, I've been very excited with. It's been amazing. You guys have done a great job. So, and now that you guys have your own factory, that kind of opens up a lot more possibilities for you too. You have a lot more control over what you're working on and what you're doing by being able to do it all in house. One thing I wanted to just pause for a second to circle back. Orlando made a comment here that I wanted to address. Orlando said PCA will be in Las Vegas in 2023. And in 2024, it will be in a different location as their contract is up in 2023. So, Orlando, I just want to clarify, that's not necessarily true. The contract does end in 2023. However, the decision has not been made on where the shows will be in the next contract. There is a possibility it will not be in Las Vegas. But
That's
after
small.
it's after the press conference that was held for the media at PCA on the Monday, the two leading destinations are Las Vegas by far, number one, and then this far behind in number two, from what we understand, was New Orleans. Although there's some logistical concerns with New Orleans, but it is being considered. But no decision has been made yet. So there is no definite exit from Las Vegas at this time for the PCA trade show. I wanted to clarify that for people.
I think just chip in. I think Las Vegas, as you said, is probably the most convenient one for conventions. Period. Now, New Orleans has been the case already in the past, so it could be another option, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. I think that there is some hesitancy there because of some of the smoking rules and just kind of the layout of where things are, and doing a lot of the non-show activities too, which I think is becoming more and more important for people based on the conversations that are being had and some of the surveys that are being had. There are some logistical issues, but again, like we've talked a lot about that, but they have not made a decision yet. They're still trying to figure that out. Right now, there's a good group at the helm at the PCA, so I'm excited to see what they come up with. It'll be interesting what changes they do make moving forward. But yeah, I mean,
well, they've been pretty active in general. I think they from my perspective at least, I think they've tried to rectify some things. They've tried to be a little more proactive with certain things, and they've really, I think, done their best to go towards the right direction, also in terms of communication and everything. Compared to, I think in the past, quite a bit of people complain about certain things that are harder to complain about today, I guess.
Yeah.
Not saying anything is perfect, but.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think Vegas is nice for its proximity to everything and the organization of it, and obviously you can smoke in most places there.
Entertainment in between.
Entertainment in between. There's a lot of space, and there's plenty of hotels within close proximity to the convention center. But it is expensive. It's very expensive there, and that is a concern. But as I said, they have some irons in the fire there. They have some options. So
you can do Vegas on a budget, though. That's the good thing
They
about
could.
Vegas is that you can. You have to walk more.
Yeah,
You can't.
that's true.
Stay where they have the convention, but there is a way to do it cheaper. Like the gentleman who spent $7,000 for one day.
Yeah. There's that guy. Well, it's time for our top three segment, which I don't think we have run since before the trade show. We didn't do it last week because we kind of we got too deep into the show with Carney. But we're gonna do our top three segment, brought to you by Room 101.
Watch the Smokin Tabacco show. Eat your vegetables. Take your vitamins. Smoke Room 101.
Sebastian, while we were on the topic, I wanted to do the top three. This is one that we've been kicking around. I was waiting to ask somebody other than Carney, as I did last week. So, three things about the show that you did not like, that you wish were better.
First is COVID.
I think we all can agree
fair.
about that. Yeah, that's
This one
fair.
is pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think that half day was a little strange. I mean, just the way the I can't say I didn't like it. I just think the way the last day, where the last day half day has been placed, I think could be placed in a better way, or a better moment, maybe early on. And walking too much.
Walking too much. I haven't heard that. That's one I have not heard yet. I haven't heard walking too much.
Bad. Don't tell me nobody's complaining about the feet always. It hurts. It's horrible.
That's fair.
Every year it's the same thing. No, honestly, I think in general for the rest, there is not much that just comes to mind like this. It's trade show, it's work. It's a good time to also catch up with the family, the people of the industry and everything. But there is no like really specific things that come out like negative to me right now, like that's on top of my mind.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know, it's everyone kind of says something different, and so I'm curious to see, like, as manufacturers, I think who play one of the biggest roles as actually exhibiting at the show. It's always interesting to hear what their thoughts are on the things that they don't like or they want to change. So that was kind of different than what a lot of people have said, but no, but it was good. No, it was good. I mean, if
maybe a little lighter.
Maybe a little lighter, yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think it's pretty practical to have it, or to have had it where it was the last couple of years, just because you can be in the same hotel and work straight there, you know, instead of having to go out to take the train and stuff like this, try to get somewhere.
Right.
I think there's quite a bit of positives. Of course, you can dig deeper and you know, try to figure out problematics of, as we had discussed earlier, how to get, you know, a bigger chunk of the retailers engaged again, because it's a retailer association and all those kind of things. I might imagine some people talk about who is attending and who is not and things like these, but honestly, you know, I think it's a choice for everybody. So I don't really see those things as a negative or something like that.
Well, that's good. You know, anytime you can find some positivity in something, it's always a good thing. You know, it sounds like you had a great show. Our show wasn't as great as it could have been because of the sickness, and we had some other some technical issues in the beginning of the show that we didn't kick off as well as we wanted to. But we still made the best of the show. A lot of our issues were more personal and internal versus the actual show itself. But I don't know.
Being sick.
Yeah, being sick was definitely the big one. But there's nothing you can do about that. That's kind of it's hard to avoid.
And it was kind of no surprise, to be honest, right? Las Vegas, the situation hasn't changed. Let's be honest, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's you know, buddies get used to it, I guess, and we have to work. You know, it's something we all have to get used to and work around. But it's pretty obvious that this is going to be, I would imagine, most probably something fairly common now.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think this is going to be the standard going forward.
The after show present.
Yeah, you go home with a gift. Yeah, no, I mean, it was you know, another year in the bag, another show for you, another show for us, and for everyone else who participated. It was great. Like I said, you guys did seem like you had a great show. I did come by the booth. We did talk for a little bit, and you know, the booth was great. It was really nice. The layout, really cool, real comfortable. Had everything on display. It looked nice. You know, the inner circles were on display. Really awesome. I was really excited for you guys. Like I said, just from the outside looking in, it felt positive for you guys, so I was really happy. You know, when I did stop by, you know, it seemed like you guys were having a nice show, which is always good. That's what we want to see. No one wants to have a bad show, especially as a manufacturer. You know, everyone wants to make the most out of that show. It's not cheap to attend, and it's very logistical too. So, you know, to make it all worthwhile is what I think everyone strives for. But, you know, another year in the bag. We look forward to the next one. We are getting towards the end of the show, getting just about past our hour mark. And Sebastian, I just wanted to thank you again for being here with us tonight. Thank you for finally coming on the show. This is something we've been talking about for a little while now. I'm glad we were able to actually do it and have you on. This was it was a great time.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you again for the opportunity. It's a pleasure, and looking forward to the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully by next time, you know, we'll have, you know, even more to talk about, some of the stuff that you kind of teased there a little bit for the future. Maybe we can be talking about that next time you come on. We look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you at TPE. We will be there in full force with probably a bigger team this time, as I mentioned last week and on the Spare Note show. Nicole and I will not be alone at our next rodeo. So we look forward to that. We look forward to see what you have at TPE and what you have going on. It's always exciting, and it should be a good time. So, again, thank you for being here with us tonight. I want to congratulate the 2 winners of our giveaway. We will contact them after the show in just a few minutes, and then we will be posting and setting up our next giveaway.
Already done.
Oh, it's already done. Wow, Nicole's already on it. Nicole's already got it out there. So that was fast. This is she keeps everything in line, Sebastian. Yeah, she keeps it going. So that's already out there. So go find that. Where can they find that?
Right now it's on my pages, but it will share to the Smokin Tabacco. And
Yep. Okay.
A little bit after the show.
All right, sounds good. So stay tuned for that. And there's no spare notes this week. We will be back next Thursday with Ben from Luxury Cigar Club. He'll be coming back to talk about some more projects that they have going on. And then on that following Saturday, the Saturday following that show next week, there will be another spare note series with myself and William Cooper. So stay tuned for that. And
then we have some big guests for August.
we do. We have some interesting people coming on, some big guests. We have some fun stuff planned as we head towards the fall. We have some things to do, and it'll be very exciting. So stay tuned for that. Stay with us. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching with us live. Thank you for listening later on all the podcast platforms, wherever you can find our podcast. Please go on and like and subscribe there as well. And as always, visit smokintabacco.com for more cigar industry news, as well as our PCA 2022 coverage brought to you by Drew Estate. We will see you next week, guys. Take care.
Bye, everyone.